I wonder if that's better if I close that. Nope.
Copy.
Hey, y'all, T-Ham141 here. We are live, coming to you from the great state of New York and the great province of New Brunswick.
Yep, province.
I'm here with Remy from Rem's Family Farm.
Let me just share that to my Facebook. Hopefully we can bring some more people in.
No, Mary Lynn, I don't think you're children. Adults can have those little contests. Brothers and sisters, me and my little brother have contests like that all the time. Since I just started, Remy clicked in with first at it was 5. Oh no, hold on, at 5:51. And Marilyn popped in at 5:51. She must have been just after him.
I win, Mary then. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but
It's
no,
just
we have. It's a good thing to have that competitive spirit. All right, tonight, I kind of want to talk about compost a little bit because I've been working with it all day long. Last year, I took and I built me a compost bin, and I put a layer of wood chips down, and then it would be like a layer of grass clippings, then a layer of compost, and a layer of wood chips. Or a layer of wood chips and then a layer of grass clippings and then stuff from the house. I don't create a whole lot of waste, banana peels, and I use the whole apples. But today I shoveled that out, pitchforked it out and screened it with a 1/2 inch hardwire cloth, and then took it inside, and it still had a lot of like wood chips and stuff. And so let's see if I can bring that up. I don't know if this is going to have sound or not. Okay, how do I get it to come up here?
Oh, there you have it.
Is it coming up?
I see it, but I just see like the top of it.
Yeah, okay. I just got to push play.
Okay.
And I wanted to know what you guys thought about this.
See, Marilyn, we're not the only one playing kids' game.
Right.
Oh, nice.
This is it's kind of, it's got a barky texture to it, like it's separate particles, but then when you squeeze it, it clumps together just like you want good soil.
That's perfect. That's what you want right there.
I'm hoping so. That little sifter, oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and take that down and bring us back up here. I can remove that now, I think. There we go. That little sifter is, come on. Oh, okay. That's the, I'm like, why isn't it coming down? But I'm behind on the screen. But that little sifter there, I bought it at the dollar store. And I've got regular hardware cloth, 1/2 inch hardware cloth. Hey, we got Darren coming in.
Hey, Darren.
What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing amazing.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, tonight we're talking about compost.
Yeah.
Because my arms are killing me. I screened it. It's about a 4x4. No, not 4x4. Maybe a 2 foot by 2 foot frame with a half-inch hardware cloth under it. Hardware cloth under it, and I sifted that out, and then I took it the in the greenhouse because it was beautiful. It was 88 degrees in there today,
Nice.
and I've got this little 10-inch. It might only be 8-inch, but it's a kid's sifter, and it's got about 1/8 inch holes, and I took and I just sat there doing this, and then my left hand wasn't as coordinated, but oh my gosh, I sifted.
I could make a whole
quite a
bunch
bit.
of comments about that right there, but I'll kind of let it go.
Yeah. But now at least I'll have a decent excuse why when my mom asks why one arm's bigger than the other. But yeah, and it looks pretty good because I had layered it, and it was, I don't know, maybe. Oh, sorry, with my comment, Mary Lynn said kids are still hollered at Darren though. What is going on? Okay, I just gotta shut off.
I didn't say anything that bad, did I?
Shut down.
No, you said you could have said something.
No,
say
you didn't.
could have
say
said.
There it is. Yeah, you said you could have, but yeah, that was just layering wood chip, which I think I'm gonna run the wood chips through my little chipper, the hammers of my little chipper, before I use them for compost anymore. But I'd layer the wood chips and then grass clippings, and wood chips and grass clippings, and then we've got a compost barrel. Maybe I did put a couple 5-gallon buckets of water on it, but it made it up to 3 or 4 foot high last year. And then this year it was down to, I don't know, 1.5 feet. Yes, Mary. I am not Mary Lynn. That is Lynn. I go through the whole thing. Mary Lynn, Annie, Lynn, Remy. Okay, it's one of those. But yeah, I've been inching up for the last week or so.
Just say you up there in Canada.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Now, is Canucks a bad thing to say?
No, you can say that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't offend anybody. Because every time I get off a live stream with you guys, whether I'm watching it or in the chat, I have this overwhelming urge to watch Canadian Bacon.
That's such a great movie.
That was an awesome movie.
It's so funny because you mentioned all this stuff, and I've done so many things wrong with the compost. It's like this year I might finally get it right. So we did the big compost. We forgot to aerate it, like turn it. It was in the shade for half the day. It always got too wet. So there were so many things that held us back from making actually good compost. So I've been studying stuff and trying this year to get it right so that we can speed up that process.
Yeah. I think I turned this like twice before snow last year. So I really didn't do it great, but I I was really, there were only, of what I did, there was only a few mats of grass, and they were, small. So apparently it worked. I tried composting the stuff from my chicken coop in a separate place, but that just like pooled down with the rain. It like wanted to wash away. I'm going to have to build an actual bin for it. And it's got the feed in it. So it really has a strong smell because they kick the dust from the feed. They want to get to those kernels. I've got a spot I can go and I can dig. I can dig it up and maybe mix it in as fertilizer, but it's not really what I would call compost. And if I stick the shovel in and it starts smelling, I'm not going to put it on. Garden's way too close to the house.
I just noticed someone that was talking about heating their greenhouse with compost. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a great idea, but I'm going to do two things with that this year now. I'm going to dedicate a space inside our greenhouse, not only to see if the compost will heat the greenhouse, but use the greenhouse to heat the compost to get it up to temperature to be able to do all the magic that it does.
Right. Yeah.
It's tough to get it there, and you need to have like the perfect combination of everything, and you need to have like just enough water but not too much, because otherwise it's too cold. And like I was, for a while, I take the chicken poop and all that stuff and I put it in the back, and I try to put like all the hay that because when I bought the barn that I have back there, little building I have, the guy had goats, and he left all the hay and straw in there, and everything was just like full of poop. So I picked everything, took everything out, and I figured, hopefully it's going to compost. But like it seemed to not, like it wasn't really doing anything at first. But now I'm looking, the snow's melting, and it's like, okay, it went down like for 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like it's probably a good thing. It's probably doing its thing. But then again, like it started off, it was that high, and now like I just have maybe like that much. Like you need so much stuff to have like a decent amount of compost. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'd like to get some sawdust from lumberyard to try to use as my brown material instead of the wood chips. But I get the wood chips for free when I see an arborist anywhere near. I tell them, hey, you can drop here. And then I just put in a request on chip drop. And I don't know if that's in Canada or not also, but you put in your address, you have to show them pictures of where you want it dropped. You put in a request, and you got your address and everything in there. And when there's somebody looking to drop chips, they will try to drop it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's free because a lot of times they have to pay to get rid of the stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if I have that around here, but I have a friend of mine that owns a business, and they're doing like sheds and stuff like that to sell around. And he's allowing me to go and pick whatever I want, so I can just go in there and grab all the wood chips I want. Like, I mean, it's there for free, and I'm just helping him, and he's also helping me. So it's win-win situation.
Yeah.
If you have an arborist local, call them.
Yeah.
Usually they'll dump for free. The other option is call the town or call your local hydro department, because there's a good chance they'll dump for free as well for you.
And I know in Boonville, New York, I was picking up wood chips for free. The guy would load them right on with the loader, and they had a pile right next to it. I think it was $2 or $3, and they would load you up with topsoil.
Nice.
And that's a lot of topsoil.
Yeah.
But yeah, the composting. I've added worms. I added. Oh my goodness. I like the night crawlers, but I did add some red wigglers in my garden, and they're still there. It's pretty cool to when I was digging up the weeds that set tap roots to China. Um, I found a lot of worms. It was pretty cool. But
Nice. We've thought about doing the worms here. The 1 year we bought some, and we are going to stick them in the garden. We started trying to do that vermiculture.
Vermiculture, yep.
And then we read a bunch of articles about, in northern Canada, where we are, worms aren't natural. So they can actually destroy habitat that is basically our area, which is crazy to think about. So
yeah, that's weird, man.
Yeah, so I guess it has to do with because we're mostly pine forests, moss, blueberries, so it's not a natural habitat for earthworms. So they come in and they change the habitat, make it more organic, make it more fertile, and then that kills off the blueberries and the pines and brings in new species of plants. And so that's what I understand anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. When I was a kid, I made, well, not a lot of money, but I would go pick night crawlers. I had a friend. Actually, he was my next door neighbor. He lived across the street from me when I lived in Port Leyden. But I'd play with his kids all the time, and we would go to his manure pile. He had pigs. We'd go to his manure pile and pick night crawlers and sell them. Okay.
Right here, the night crawlers, I just go in the ditch. Like in the day, maybe not like today because it's actually snowing again right now. But when it's just cool night, raining a little bit, just not enough to stop us from going out. But when everything is just a little bit wet, I go out with a flashlight. It's like one after another. Like I can pick at least like 30 a minute, easy.
I remember when I was managing a horse farm. We were just north of Toronto, and a couple times we looked out and there was the flashlights out in the fields, and we're like, who the hell is that? What are they doing? So I went out to find out who's doing what out in the field, and it was actually people that came up from Toronto and they wanted to pick worms for fishing. I was like, this is private property. Like, get the hell off. We want to keep the worms in the ground for, for our hay fields and the horses, for the paddocks and stuff. Like, see ya.
Yeah. The high school, South Louis High School, you used to be able to drive by there. You might still be able to at night, and there'd be people out there because there were just so many earthworms in the soccer fields and the football fields, and it was just crazy. Now you could probably do for worm castings, get a big container as long as you tried not to let any escape.
Yeah, we tried doing that in the garage and stuff, but I found, with everything we had going on, it was just another thing that I had to look after. And
I tried it.
It was just not worth the effort for the little bit, like a Rubbermaid container.
Yeah.
Over, 5 months. That's just no.
I tried it in a big cooler, when we lived in Port Leyden, and one day I was down cellar doing something. Like, what in the world is that cooler there for? I opened it up, and oh my goodness, it was horrible. But so far, basically compost, anything organic you want to put in there. Your eggshells are good for calcium. I was really excited. I went out to close the windows on the greenhouse before we started, and my chickens were turning my compost pile.
You just reminded me I need to do that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, windows are closed. Door needs to be shut.
Yeah, I was in there earlier today. It made it to 93. I opened up all the windows, and then while I was in there, it was in the 80s. And then I just went out there a little while ago, and it was 49. And so I said, okay, it's time to close. But everything seems to be doing really good.
Nice.
I've got backups in the house. It's just I need to up pot everything. I apparently I should wait till April 1st, the first week in April, before I start planting seeds, because they're big. They're ready to go in the garden next year. But so what do you guys like to compost? What do you guys use for it?
Manure.
Manure?
That's the best thing I got right now. I mean, I got the rabbits, which is already
I'm going to go shut up the greenhouse now that you reminded me.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah, so I put wood chips in my chicken coop, and I mean the chickens will do their thing, and I take the stuff and I put it in the compost bin. And I really want to try what Justin Rose was doing last year. You know, take some chicken wire mesh and like make a, like, I don't know what's it called there, but you know, you can take the holes and just shake it and just have the stuff that's small enough drop in between the cracks, you know, and use that straight in the garden. I guess I wouldn't put that in my roots vegetables, but like around tomatoes and stuff like that, it'd be all right.
Let me see if I can find it. Boy, that didn't take long.
No, it's like right outside my office here.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Initial download.
Now I'm out of breath. I need to work out more.
You and me both. My biggest let's see. I got, what do you think? I don't know.
Rabbit poop's so great. You don't even need to compost it. Throw it right in the gardens.
Yeah. What did I call that? It was the sifter build. Let's see if that'll open in that. I'm gonna share a.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's my compost pile, and then
Yeah, mine is something similar to that.
Okay.
The only difference between yours and mine is I didn't put the board across them to solidify the thing. I just put some tiny little ones in the corners right there. Like in the two corners in the back, I just put like tiny little pieces of a 2x3 just to tie the corners up. And I didn't put the board in front, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Where is that? There it is.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
just half-inch hardware cloth.
Yeah, basically like rabbit wire sort of thing.
Yeah, it's exactly I think what you'd use for rabbit wire. Now I sifted through with that, and then unfortunately I had to I had to use the little thing. Let's see if I can find that. Where'd it go here? I need to pull this up. Initial download, and
Sifter is one of the next projects we need to do. We've been pulling some stuff out of the cow fields, and there's, unfortunately, I moved a bunch of sand in there from the back, and it's got lots of big stones. And I was like, so I took that, dumped it on the food forest, thinking it'd be great. All this manure and stuff on the food forest. But then it's like, then I realized all these stones were there. So if I had the sifter, it would have been perfect.
Yeah. This is after I sift it with that big one, I've got this little kid's toy I bought. That's about an 1/8-inch hole. Man, that's why my arm's so hurting.
Oh, that's good looking stuff, though.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
If I can end up with this at the beginning of the season every year, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I'd be loving that.
And like I said, you don't have much, but it takes so long to decompose a lot of stuff. Like you need to flip it often. That's a trick.
Yeah. I think it's like almost every week or every 2 weeks or something like that. Once you get it up to temperature, then you got to let it go for a week or two.
What's this here? Come on, I said show.
Yeah,
that's not the one I want. Oh, it moved up. I like to put crab shell in the compost, but since we did not buy some this year, I don't think we will have any. I was picking out a lot. Now, I've been eating boiled peanuts forever, and they're just delicious. But I put a bunch of them in the compost, and I did not see a whole lot left over. I have before, but didn't get enough brown into the green. Yeah, you got to have that carbon for the to use up some of the nitrogen. Seaweed, oh man, that's got to be good.
Yeah,
nutrients in seaweed. We had some worms we didn't use from fishing trip, and the kids put them in a box. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you forget them,
at least you'll have them all summer long.
Yeah. I'm the worms are just phenomenal. Wendy would outfish me all the time. I'd sit here with this $50 lure and have to move all over the place, and Wendy would be catching fish left and right with worms.
Listen, up at my parents' cottage, there's some big bass, and I love going up there. But I'll bring everything, like all my gear, my big tackle box, the whole works, and I'll be out there, casting, going through all different lures. And then the kids will come out and they'll throw a worm out with a bobber, and in comes this 5-pounder. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, killing me here.
Yeah.
Just a second. Let me make this clear. At your parents' cottage?
Yeah.
We can fish there?
We'll have to see. I'll check if it's in season when we go there, but yeah. We might have bass for dinner one night.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's some good eating there.
Maryland. No.
He's gonna have his vehicle.
Oh, we got everything up there.
I have a cooler anyway. Yeah, it doesn't take much space anyway.
No, we got everything up there. So
this is my first year. I'm trying out I've got my THAM 141 Homestead Garden Journal.
Nice.
Yeah.
We need to make one of those with all the dates and everything of when stuff you start.
Yeah, it's just basically, this one is seeds, and you mark down when you put your seeds in, and then it transplants and stuff like that. I've got a better one, but this one here is my first year being able to do this. I tell you that the Amazon KDP, I don't make a lot off it, at all, but if I want something, like I needed a garden journal, and I just made, I made one. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump up here real quick. Mary Lynn, she saw your face and knew what you were thinking.
I went fishing last night. It was like around freezing temperatures and it was raining. Shows you how much I love fishing. You bring me to a cottage next to a lake or a river, like all I'm thinking is,
Yeah,
I want to fish, I want to fish, I want to fish, I want to
I
fish.
hear you on that.
I went out because I've been a bass fisherman for years, and I use a heavier spinner rod and everything. So I went out just before April 1st. I planned on going fishing because that's when the season opens. And I bought me a new rod and got me some spinner baits. It's sitting over in the corner. I haven't been fishing yet. I've got to get out there because I really kind of forgot what it's like to fish for trout. And trout is some really good eating.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, like, go ahead.
I was gonna say I miss fishing coming from Ontario, where we had big bass, big pike, big walleye, and in this part of Quebec, it's almost been overfished. So it was so funny the one time going out fishing, and I had my fly rod and I pulled out a trout like this big. And I'm taking it off the hook and I threw it back, and Bridget's like, no. I'm like, that's like so tiny. And she's like, that's huge for this area. That's good eating. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're kidding me, right?
Yeah, the little natives and the browns.
Like, no, that's got to grow up to be, mommy and daddy.
You need to go lake trout fishing.
Yeah,
or landlocked salmon.
Yeah, we went up to the Yukon the one year to visit her brother and one of my clients, and we went into one of the back lakes, and they've got pike there that have never been. Well, someone's obviously fished them before, but it's like, it almost feels like no one's fished them before because you throw something in and bam, they're on it. It was just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love that. I've got my grandfather's fly rod, and I took it out into West Canada Creek and caught my first trout. That was several years ago. Caught my first trout on a fly rod, and it was, I mean, it was 8 to 12 inches. I mean, it was pretty big.
Nice.
But the thing is we can have a limit of 5, but only 2 of them can be above 12. I think it's above 12 inches.
Okay.
It's weird.
I think they're just trying to let some get bigger for now. We stopped fishing because the amount of people overfishing and keeping fish that are clearly too small has gotten out of hand. Yeah, it is really hard to manage a fishery.
And the thing here in New Brunswick, that's what I was going to say. Here in New Brunswick, we're allowed to fish with live bait. I don't know about you guys, but I can go fishing trout with like live smelt or worms. I can go fishing striped bass with pieces of mackerel and stuff like that. I know on the Quebec side you can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that helps. I mean,
I don't know. I've kind of given up on fishing since I've been here now. So I take my fly rod out every now and then, but my bait casters and all that, they're in storage till I get back to Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. My bait caster, otherwise known as the snag. He knows I'm live.
He's doing it on purpose every single time.
Yeah, it's my friend Matt. He's got a good sense of humor. Which I don't shut the phone off because of if my mom has an emergency or what she views as an emergency. I'm, half an hour away, but still I want to be able to get to her if she needs it. But yeah, um, I was watching Justin Rhodes.
Carp make good compost too.
Carp, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to we have remnants of the Black River Canal, and my dad did it. I was a little bit young, but we would go to the canal, and him and my big brother would have their bows, and my little brother and I would go to one end because you got a section of about, I don't know, I don't even think it's a quarter of a mile of canal intact with water in it. And we would go in and we would just start walking from one end, and they would be on the other end and shooting the carp with their bows. It
Nice.
was pretty fun.
They're taking over a number of our lakes, and it's not good.
Yeah. They if you get the right kind of carp, what is it, the grass carp, Chinese grass carp or whatever, they can defoliage a lake in no time.
Yeah.
But with the worms and the composting with the worms, I think they help a lot.
Yeah.
But I was watching can't remember his name, the gardening channel with James Figlione or something. But he was talking how I do the wood chips out here, but he was talking about composting, planting in the compost, and it is just amazing what this guy has made a food forest. I don't know if you're familiar with the channel in New Jersey that is just, I mean, phenomenal. But he says for your woody, like your trees and your perennials, use the regular wood chips. But then for your annuals, you want a compost, something that you're going to put on for a year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good idea.
The other thing I'm thinking of doing this year is we've got some compost saved up in 5-gallon buckets from the winter. So instead of taking that and putting it actually on the compost, I'm just going to dig kind of a trench in the garden, spread it out in that trench, and then fill it over. It's going to be the same effect, and it'll be kind of direct. So I don't have to worry about adding it in with the manure and that sort of stuff. So I don't have to worry about it going to seed. It just goes in the garden and starts providing nutrients right away.
Yeah. The roots can get in there and tap and get whatever they need.
Exactly.
Something I saw the other day was comfrey, which I by mistake got comfrey seeds because I thought they were the active ingredient in Wendy's Miracle Cream there that helps arthritis in your hands after working with wood and stuff. But
it's supposed to be like a cell regenerative.
Yeah, but it's actually camphor that is the active ingredient in that. But the comfrey on Living Traditions Homestead, she took and she cut down a plant. You can cut them down to like 2 inches several times a year, and then she just cut up the leaves and the stem and everything, put it in a 5-gallon bucket and covered it with water. And she said after 3 or 4 days, you can put it right on your plants. But then after 3 to 6 weeks, I think she said, it's going to look nasty. She said, but you dilute that water in there, and that makes a tea. You'll never use, I think the title of it was You'll Never Buy Miracle Grow Again, because it's on the NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. I'm not sure which one the is the K, but
potassium is K.
The what?
The potassium is K.
Potassium is K. Leave it to the guy who works in a hospital to know that.
Of course. But that's where I
It's a
found
good
out.
thing to
Yeah.
know, though.
But those compost teas and like the vermiculture teas, that's pretty wild to
Yeah.
do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it comes out to a 511 on the NPK, and she said that it's really good when you're first starting off plants. It'll help them get real leafy real quick.
One of the things you can do, like Lynn, you're saying you're giving your worms to the chickens right now and you want to stop it. Give them some June bugs. Just put a light close to a bucket of water. The June bugs will go right in there. You give that to your chickens. They'll, like, it's a real feast for them. And another thing I try to do, like, I mean, the chicken manure is a hard thing to compost because it takes a long time. But you can put that in water in like a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water. You can then water your plants with that bucket. It's going to give all the nutrients that your garden needs. I mean, of course, I wouldn't put that straight on, vegetables that I'm planning to eat in the next few days or weeks. But you can spread the garden with that water, and I've heard it does miracles.
Yeah.
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 The June bugs, I get them out here on my apple trees, and I just knock them off into a thing of water, and then the next day they're usually dead by then. I just dump them out in front of the chickens, and the chickens see that, and they're all over it.
For us, our chickens are like all about the grasshoppers. Something starts moving like that and jumping or flying, and they go running. It's like, yeah, get them.
Yeah, the moths, we have these white moths. I think they might be wax moths from the beehive, but yeah, you watch a chicken just running and trying to catch a moth. They're tempted to fly when they get
the
up
funniest
high.
is when they run and jump in the air trying to catch something out of the air. And it's like, oh, that's hysterical.
Or they do nail it, and they just seem to come out with two wings. They catch it dead center, and they got two wings in their mouth, coming out of their mouth. They land on you and stick you. Yeah, I don't step on them. That is just nasty.
Then the best too is watching a chicken grab one of the big grasshoppers, and then they've got to run for their life because the other chickens are after them trying to grab the grasshopper from them.
They keep running for like 15 minutes, and then they just stop. They put it on the ground, and then they see the other chickens coming. They grab it again and just start running. They just don't eat it. They end up just running with it.
Yeah, it's funny what we noticed over the 3 years of being here is because we started the garden first. We started to be inundated with grasshoppers, and then we kind of worked on our food forest and let the chickens out. But the more we've worked on the gardens and the food forest to allow for more habitat for birds and other stuff, is the more we found we have less grasshoppers. So we've got more robins here, more blue jays, more northern flickers. All those kinds of birds have moved into our property, and we found the population of birds has just increased dramatically. So that in turn is now keeping the grasshoppers in check as well as the other bugs, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. I took with the June bugs. It's all natural, but it's milky spore. I bought a bag off Amazon, and I spread it around the yard. And what that does is that'll grow. The milky spore, it's actually a spore, and it will grow in the soil and kill the grubs, because I think their grubs are like a year or two before they turn into beetles. Let's see here. Well, I will say we haven't seen as many June bugs last couple of years as we used to. Yeah. I think they're kind of like rabbits, and they move in cycles. Um, do you do bird? I think that's for you, Darren. Bird houses.
We haven't yet. We figured because we have so many pines here, we haven't really done any bird houses. We have done some bat houses. However, I don't know if they're in the wrong location, not getting enough light, or on a tree so the squirrels can get them, but we haven't had any bats move into them yet. And it's been about 2 years. So we're going to move them, try and maybe put them on a post with some sort of protection, maybe get them up a little higher, get them in the sun a little more. But we have started thinking about adding some more bird houses now because we cleared about 2 acres for the cow field. So we want to kind of recreate some of that habitat that we took away. So we're going to try and be planting more trees as well as doing more bird houses for the different animals that are around here.
That's awesome. Just having that in mind, okay, we are affecting this ecosystem. In what ways are we affecting it? And how can we lessen that impact?
Yeah.
That is amazing. I don't know what they are eating. The hoppers are eating. Nothing's eating. That's good. That they're not eating your plants. That's awesome.
That's good. A lot of the time we just find them on the clover, which is really nice. We don't find too many in the garden, which is good. But we also use the netting, the protective netting on a lot of the stuff that they can damage. So that helps as well.
Let's see. I'm going to make some around our place too. Bird houses.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, little house in the big woods. But yeah, I built bird houses all around our house in Port Leyden. And when we moved, I said, you know what, I'm just going to leave them here. Our tenants were tickled right pink when they moved in, and are those bird houses ours? And like, yeah. I said, just clean them out in the fall or the spring. And I said, you'll have all sorts of birds. There was one bird house I put down in the woods by the creek. I don't know what I was thinking, but we had flying squirrels move in, and that was pretty cool. Till one of them got in the house and Wendy had to catch it. I wasn't going to mess with it. Squirrels bite.
I had to remove a bat from inside the house once. Oh. That was so cute. I was freaking out because I'd watched too many YouTube videos where the bat flies around the house and people chasing it with a broom and trying to catch it with a bag and all that. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed one of my leather work gloves, and he was hanging from the stucco, just like 1 foot on the stucco, upside down. And he was sleeping there, and I just went up, and I grabbed him gently in my palm. And as I brought him down from the ceiling, it's like he stretched his wings and he kind of opened his eyes and like, oh, you woke me up, dude. and that was the look on his face. And I just took him outside and let him go. And that was it. Cool. It was so cool.
I miss birds so much. I took down our feeders and houses because less than 20 minutes from us, a small chicken farm had to kill the chicken. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I've got a couple years ago, I found a nest, a hawk nest in a tree just off the clearing behind the chicken coop. Apparently, they wanted to be able to just order in for my chickens. And the other day I saw 2 hawks flying around it and landing on it. So I'm going to have to go tear that apart, I guess. I hate doing it because they're so beautiful. They're red tails. Yeah. And they are so beautiful, but I just can't have them get the chickens.
We want to, we kind of want to create a little more habitat for owls here, but we've had a couple great horned owls, and it's only been once. Like I used to hear them all the time where I was in Ontario, but they love skunks, and we've got a bunch of skunks around here. So the only time I heard it was a night after I saw a whole bunch of skunks walking through one of our paths, and it was like baby skunks. and I ran into them with the flashlight, and I turned around, ran the other way. The next night's when we heard the great horned owl. And then after that, we didn't see any more skunks. So I'm like, okay, so maybe we need to build like a great horned owl nest or some sort of, whatever they need. But it's like, okay, so now we got to figure out if the chickens can actually free range, but they're out during the day and the owl's out at night. So it's like, it's not,
Yeah, it drives me nuts because that owl, he's got to, I don't know if he's on my property or not at night, but when he's hooting, he's back behind the house, but the chickens are in. So
That's
he's not
just it.
really bothering the chickens, but the cats want to go out at night, especially in the summer. And I'm worried about the cats because Wendy said she saw the owl and it flew down the driveway, and she said its wings went from one side of the driveway to another. I don't know what kind of owl it is, but
they're pretty big birds.
Yeah.
Big birds.
And I don't know. Trevor says I've turned into a cat person. I don't think I have, but I don't want to lose these guys. Yeah. We have a pair of owls and we hear them hooting back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're cute birds.
They are. They're awesome.
Yeah.
We had the owl about a week and a half ago was hooting, and I hooted back and coyotes started howling over in the side. Apparently my owl hoot sounds like a coyote.
It's funny sometimes, depending on where you are, you do that, and you can get the owl, you can get the coyotes, you can get the turkeys. It's like a big symphony of,
Yeah. Not yesterday morning. I think coming out tomorrow, I've got a video coming out. I woke up in the morning and I went out and I had thousands of goldfinches. I mean, it was just, I'd maybe hundreds, but they were all over, and I was able to capture some of it on the camera. Picked it up. My lapel mic didn't pick it up, but it was just really cool to have that many birds. When we first moved to our place the first night, an owl sat in the driveway staring at our house. And welcome to the neighborhood. I don't know where that comes from. We have the snowies here in the winter.
Wow.
Gorgeous. I've got some amazing pics of them. That's great. They are cool.
Yeah.
Now, which ones are the ones that are so protected? Does a spotted owl or something?
The barn. I think it's the barn owls up here.
Yeah. If you find that you have them, don't tell anybody because they'll lock your land down. He's come back several times sitting in a tree and on our coop. Yeah. Yeah. He's looking for those Meals on Wheels. They've got these predator dissuaders or whatever, just two red lights, and they've got them where it's got two red lights on all four sides, and it's supposed to dissuade owls and stuff from predator, because they say, oh, there's already a predator here. Let's see. Wow, I know I have them too, Lynn, but I never saw one. Hey, Lewis. Someone shared this channel out and recommended that I come in and see what's going on. Hey, well, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, tonight we're talking, compost.
Well, we were talking compost.
Yeah, we're talking compost and owls. And, it's just all sorts of goodness. You never know what we're going to cover.
It's always the case. We start talking about something and the conversation shifts in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, there's just so much that happens on a homestead that that somebody
Yeah.
said something and it jogs your mind, and you're like, oh wow, I got a cool story about this, or this happened the other day, and sounds like a Harry Potter story. Did he have a letter from one of your kids? Yeah. This is a good person then. Yeah. Yes, I am all for it. Tell them I said thank you. And I hope you get value out of the channel. Check out Rem's Family Farm, and that's Remy in the middle, and Thorhaven Farm. That's Darren.
Yeah,
Remy
I
is
recognize everyone on here, so
okay.
yeah.
Oh, there was no letter. Fishing worms and owls. Yeah. We haven't made it to snakes yet, which I haven't found any, but somebody showed me in Canada, of all places, this huge ball of snakes, a mating ball that was breaking up, and there had to be thousands of garter snakes.
Garters are pretty awesome. They're really cool.
Ooh, a nice septic tank for compost. Yeah. There are people off grid with Doug and Stacy use a composting toilet. And I don't know if they use it. I think they do use it on their garden. I don't know if I could do that, but to each their own. I hate to run, but a friend is doing a live on Instagram, and I want to support him. He has a great channel, Inside My Canoe Head. He talks about preparedness and being more self-reliant. All right, and now, Lynn, before you go, you're going live at 8 o'clock, if I remember right. You're just opposite Darren's, if I remember.
Same time, right?
Yeah. Because I was watching them both.
Yeah, I was on one of the live streams talking and saying hi to everyone, and then I see Tracy, and I'm like creeping on the other one, and like, here he is talking to everyone again. He's not listening to any one of them. He's just talking in the chat.
Oh no, I was listening. I just had the volumes down so they weren't really competing with each other. But hey, man, that's I love the live streams.
Trying to support everyone. Same. I'm the same.
Yeah, Lynn and Darren are at the same hour.
Yeah, for tonight. There seems to be
I'm
some.
hoping to go live on Wednesday, but okay. So she's gonna end up moving to Wednesday here shortly. I only use the septic tank if I absolutely have to. I haven't had to yet. Yeah. That stuff stays pretty ripe. I always wanted one of those outhouses with the big methane bladder, so that you could, you'd have your methane to cook and run. I got a propane fridge and a propane stove. I did break down. I hope they don't revoke my off-grid card. But I broke down and I called AmeriGas Propane, and they're going to be hopefully delivering a 250-gallon tank, because the 100-pound tanks are just starting to get heavy on me, and I'm trying to get the homestead kind of set up for when I get older.
Nice.
And the thing is, I asked for a 100-gallon tank because right now I am using a 100-pound tank, which is 23 gallons. So a 100-gallon tank would give me 3 or 4 times that. All right, bye, Lynn. And leaving in 7. You're leaving in 7?
7 days.
Oh, 7 days. Oh, you're counting down. Okay, yeah, I gotcha. But
vacation. Well, unless Darren makes me work, but it should be a vacation.
No, I won't make you work.
Darren,
I'm not
we
Mallory from Quebec Homestead.
We got to get a picture of Remy sitting on a Highland bull with a beer in his hand.
That would be epic.
we can get a picture with him on the Viking throne. That won't be
There
a
you
problem.
go.
But yeah.
I'll settle for that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they don't do the 100-gallon propane tanks anymore, they said, but they're doing a 250, which they'll only fill to 200. But that should be like 2 years of propane for me. I should be able to get a propane freezer. I'm dying to get a smaller, but a larger chest freezer up here because I've got one that's down at my brother's house because of the electricity. But with this, I should be able to go 2 years. I'll have them top it off every spring and fall, but yeah, hopefully they don't decide to take my off-grid card because I'm getting deliveries.
I'd love to figure out something for basically methane for our septic tanks because we get like 5-6 feet of snow. And if you go out our backyard in February, March, you'll find that, the 5 feet of snow goes like this right down to the lid on the septic tank. The amount of heat that it produces continues to keep that snow free all through the winter. So I'd love to figure out some way to utilize that, some way to either heat a secondary greenhouse or, use it to burn something to heat. Just there's got to be a way to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I believe methane's a lot like propane.
Yeah.
I think you can. Don't anybody quote me on this. Do your research, but I don't think you have to switch over your receptacles from propane to methane. I think you can just use the propane thing. I'm not sure on that, so please don't blow yourself up on my account. But methane, it burns clean. There's no smell when it burns, and yeah, that would solve the. You just get a little methane stove, and that would heat a greenhouse easy.
Yeah.
That would be the way to
I'd
go.
have to do it right, so I'm just not piping methane into the house, or
right.
That would be just not
right.
good.
Well, it would be it would be the same as propane. I would imagine. As far as the precautions and stuff, they've got to come. They've got to do a site inspection to find out where they want it. Then he's got to figure out if it's going to be easy or hard. If it's easy, it's going to cost me $600 for them to put the tank in. If it's hard, it's probably going to be more. And then they got to come put it in. And I think I know where I want it. But where it'll be easy for them to get to fill. But yeah, I hate going back to that whole thing, but I was gonna try to rig up a pulley system like they had for the hay bales back in the old huge hay mows, with a rail system where I could use my chain hoist to hoist the tank, my 100-pounder, up off the truck and just slide it over and set it down. But I don't think that's in the future. I'm just not that. Well, Trevor could probably design it for me, but yeah, I just throwing the tank around when it's empty is not bad, but when it's full, it just messes with my. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to jump off, go jump in the hot tub, and I'll possibly see you in an hour or so.
Absolutely. All
awesome.
right.
Take care, guys. We'll talk to you in a bit.
All right. I think Remy, you got anything else you want to throw out there tonight, or?
Well, I think just to conclude on the compost, there we didn't really touch it that much, but I think everyone should try to compost because I mean we're trying to go as green as possible, and composting is part of it. You can take, like you said, your banana peels, but any food really can go in there. Um, Pretty much anything, like even the cardboard. If you have some paper, you can like newspaper stuff like that. You can put it in there.
Yeah.
Um,
They
I mean,
don't
I
they
have the chicken manure, but
they don't recommend composting meat. They just because
yeah,
it'll attract rodents and stuff. But you can. I mean,
you could.
I
Yeah.
you, I've got a friend, Skip Fruin lived down from me in Port Leyden, that he would give chicken carcasses to his after they had a chicken dinner. He'd give it to his chickens, and he said they'd strip it. There wouldn't be any meat left on it, and then he could throw it right in the compost pile.
Well, I take when you always have some dead animals on a farm. I take my dead chickens, my dead rabbits because I'm obviously not going to eat them if I don't know what they died from, and I
Right.
put it straight in my compost pile. It takes just a
Yeah.
few weeks, really, and they disappear
Yeah.
completely.
Well,
I
yeah.
caught a squirrel in my house a couple of years back. I put it in my compost pile and it disappeared.
Yeah. You might be able to just bury it or something so the smell doesn't attract a bunch of
Predator.
vermin or predators. Um, but yeah, compost. It's right now. I am out of my 6-year-old manure. Well, I might have one 5-gallon bucket left of it, of my 6-year-old horse manure. Um, I went to Walmart and bought topsoil. It was $1.98 a bag. And that I planted radishes and kale in that, in the greenhouse. But I want to get to the point where I don't have to worry about uh, coming up purchasing stuff. I should have a load of year old manure coming, a dump truck load coming from my son-in-law, which I'm going to use in my outdoor garden beds there. And um, it's, oh man, I hate my mind.
Well, you want to be self sufficient as much as
Yeah.
possible with compost. I mean, it's if you can get your own compost, you don't need to buy soil at the store, right? That's the basic idea from it.
Picking strawberries.
He's in Florida.
Oh,
And he keeps bragging about it whenever he talks to us. Like we send him a message. I mean, I follow him because it's fun to see someone from a different place,
oh
to see
yeah.
what they do and to see the things they can grow and what they can't. And he keeps rubbing in the fact that we still have snow, and he does.
Oh, um, it is. There are a couple channels that I've watched in the past. I think I'm subscribed to them, but I don't see much from them. Where they're literally in South America, homesteading and doing permaculture, gardening and stuff, and they're in the situation. They're more tropical, and they can just cut and drop, and it's the stuff builds a nice layer of leaves and stuff, and then that just decays and feeds their plants. Um, and it is very interesting. Like when I was watching um, one of Darren's videos there, and he had the 6-foot snowbank there. Uh, that was it's been a long time since we've had that much snow. I mean, we get 6-foot banks, but he's talking 5-6 feet of just snow on the ground too, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
a
we
lot of
have
snow.
definitely even more than that here for sure.
Yeah, we used to get. I remember they would cancel school if we got like if we had like 4 foot coming in a storm. Now, um, the school I went to, the guy does not like to give snow days. So during the month of I think it was April, every Friday they had off because of snow days that they didn't use. Uh, they could have used those snow days several times, and it would have been really really nice.
Smarter than just canceling school for nothing at some point.
Yeah, but if they don't use all their snow days, then I guess the state won't let them. Will cut their number. But with the with the composting and stuff, um, if you have uh, chicken manure is a little harder for me because I do the deep litter method. I instead of picking up the droppings on a daily basis, I let them build up and I cover them with wood chips, and then they build up again and I cover them with wood chips, and that keeps them. Actually, that breaking down keeps the coop a little bit warmer.
Mm-hmm.
However, uh, you're also getting all of the feed from that entire winter that the chickens are spilling and kicking out of the feeder.
Buckets,
Yeah,
feeders.
and that is really a pain because that feed is what pigs don't stink. The feed that they knock out and gets wet is what stinks. Uh, Pigs are really clean animals. All
But you
right.
should get rabbits. You need to get rabbits now.
Yes. Yes. Right now, I am working on refinancing um, mortgage on the house in Port Lyden. And when I do that, hopefully, I'll be able to get a new chicken coop. Uh, and I'm going to partition it off so that I can also get a couple rabbits.
Just yeah.
Um, because I'm sold on rabbits, man. Just for the gloves and the stuff you can make out of the fur. Their skin is so thin you don't have to actually tan it. You can pickle it. And uh, a varying hair skin that I skinned case, and it lasted for years until Wendy said, "We're not taking that to the cabin." When we moved up here, she says, "Yeah, we're not taking that to the cabin." So,
That would have
oh,
been so nice behind you right there on the wall.
what's that?
It would have been nice right there behind you on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I even when we moved up here, I put my deer antlers, which nothing special. I've always been a meat hunter, so I've got a 3 point and a 6 point um, antler. You might see them sometime in some of the shots on the outside of the tool shed. Um, but yeah, I didn't even put those inside because she loved it. She loves hunting. She loves the lifestyle. But there was just something about a trophy room that she didn't really care for.
My girlfriend's cool though because upstairs in the living room is where I put all my my handlers and I have two moose racks between 32 and 34 inches. I mean they're nothing like big for around here, but they're pretty nice. I mean it's
Yeah,
quite enough that I can't show it here on camera. So I have 7 pointers, deer buck, and a spike. But the
nice.
spike was my first one, so
Yeah,
of course I was going to keep him. And then I got a 7 points, so it's so much fun.
yeah. And every animal is a trophy. Whether you're going to eat it, whether you can preserve a rack or a fur. I like the idea of using as much as I possibly can of the animal. I don't. I I've I've said for years I want to teach myself to brain tan, and I've just never done it. Oh my goodness, was it on a loan? There was one of the guys that killed a muskox, and he used that whole animal. He peeled back the nose and ate the fat from the nose, and that was awesome.
It was Jordan did that, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go so we can relax a little bit before I'm gonna hit 2 live streams at once again tonight and try to. But guys, up at the top of the comments, there should be a poll. I think it's just, do you compost? I got to figure out how to get back into my polls once I do them.
7 votes.
What's that?
There was 7 votes, 8 votes now, and 88% voted yes, 12% voted no.
Nice. So we are a composting group. That's good. It's something that, man, in today's consumer, if you don't have a lot of animals that you can get your manure and stuff from, that compost can really make a difference. I know it's keeping me going gardening until I can get that load of manure. But,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. And I'm sorry, Tammy, you just got in here because Darren will be on at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And also Bucket List Homestead, Lynn will be on. She's got a guest at the same time. So if you got 2 screens, you can juggle it. Or at least try. I'm going to try. All right. Well,
take care, everyone.
Y'all have a good night and God bless.